I'm going to tell you about the day my worst fear as a minimalist came true. This was the thing that I had been worrying about the whole time I was decluttering my house, simplifying, getting rid of things, trying to decide, like, should I keep this? Should I let it go? This was my biggest fear. This was what was always hanging over my head, like in the background, that I was worried was day going to happen. And then it did. So let me take you back about 10 years. So this is the house. This is where I found minimalism. So this is where we were living at 10 years ago. We had 4 kids ages 4 and under, which is, I found out, actually possible, right? Some of you know that. Like, you can. Um, it was this cute little townhouse. We had moved down to live by my parents. We had lived with my parents for a little bit in the hopes of finding a place out in the country, but the market was already starting to go kind of wild with rural properties. And Tom had found this townhouse for sale, and it was just a few minutes from my parents' house. And he was like, "What if we just go like hang out here for a little bit?" And so we put in an offer and we got it accepted. Now, here's the thing about this townhouse, though. I was just looking back because I couldn't remember exactly. It was 1,900 square feet, and it was like a tri-level. So you come in here, and then you could either go upstairs or downstairs. Downstairs was my office, a family room, and a bathroom, and then upstairs. Well, I'll show you the main level. Was this. This isn't what it looked like when we were there, but this was from the last time it sold. And they actually still we had done like the pallet wood around the fireplace. I put that mirror above the fireplace, the mantle, even the IKEA light coming through the trees picture that's above the steps. We put that there. And the baby gate, there's like a pallet wood baby gate there. Anyways, but when we lived there, there was actually a lot less stuff in here. I actually had to bring in stuff to stage it, which is like never the issue when you're selling the house, right? Um, and so we had to, again, it was 10 years ago, and we move into this townhouse, and we have these 4 little kids, and I am drowning in stuff and chaos. And just, I think many days, Tom would go off to work. Here I am home with the kids. I get to be a stay-at-home mom, which is what I always actually wanted to do, right? And so I'm like, I am living the dream. And why does it suck so much? And why can't I stay on top of things? And why do I feel like such a loser most of the time? Like, most of the time, the kitchen's a mess. The family room downstairs where all the kids' toys were. I mean, you don't even want to walk in there on any given day, right? And so, if you've heard my story at all, that is where I found minimalism. I heard a podcast with Joshua Becker on it, and he just said that infamous line of, "Did you know you don't have to have all of this stuff? Did you know you don't have to have all that stuff?" And when I look back, I was like said, like, I must have been real desperate because that's all he had to say. And I'm like Googling minimalism and like, how far is too far? How many towels do we need? How many forks? All of that. And I committed. It was like literally that day that I'm like, if I ever get this dialed in and figured out, I'm going to start a blog, and I'm going to tell all the other moms out there, all the other messy moms. I think it's just a small percentage, but those that are like me that I can relate to, right? I'm just going to let them know like how many towels and how many forks that you need. How far can you go with kids' toys, right? Um, and so this is where that all happened. And so over the course of the coming year, I mean, my best guesstimate is that I got rid of about 80% of our stuff. And I did not tell anyone what I was doing. I did not tell anyone because I did not want to look like a weirdo. I didn't, in my head, it was an experiment to see if somehow I could still get to do some of the things I loved, which at the time was like building websites, marketing. I had my other blog, I Think We Could Be Friends. I was just really having a lot of fun with that. But every day I was torn between taking care of the house and like that stuff, and having time to work on that. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna do this experiment, and I'm gonna start getting rid of our stuff. I did not tell Tom what I was doing. I only focused on my stuff, kitchen stuff, kids stuff. At that time, we had kind of traditional gender roles just because I was staying home with the kids. He was going to work. So I took care of the bulk of the household stuff. And so I'm like, I'm just going to focus on that stuff. I did not touch any of his things. And again, I was just trying to like fly below the radar, make like trips to Goodwill like all the time, and not let anyone know what was going on. But as I did that over the course of that year, I just began to find so much freedom. But again, this fear is still hanging over the back of my head, right? And so I like it's good, it's helpful. I'm starting to feel like I can stay on top of our house. It's taking so much less time to manage. I feel like I'm a better mom because when like hanging out with the kids, when we're playing or we're going to the park, like it's like I'm present and we're doing it and it's great. And then all the other times I felt like, hey, they can play, they can entertain themselves, and I can do some of the stuff I enjoy because they're not in this like hot mess express house now. Like they were actually already starting to like play better, be able to entertain themselves. And we had met this other family in our development with kids similar ages. They would go outside to play together. There was like this cul-de-sac right behind our house. So I could sit in my office and just see them playing in our backyard and there. And it just felt like things were really starting to fall into place. But my fear was still that someone was going to walk into our house because I had gone so far and be like, what is wrong with you? Like, did you get robbed? Like, what is going on here? And think that we're weird. Think that maybe some way even though I'm really truly beginning to believe this is what's best for our kids, think I'm somehow depriving them. Or also I was aware I didn't want people coming into our home and seeing how minimally we lived and then think that I'm judging them when I go into their house, right? So we had met this other family behind us. They had just moved in. We'd been there about a year, but they had just moved in. And I was so glad I had not found any other like moms in the area that stayed home. And so they moved in right behind us. Like it just felt so divine, right? And yet I was very careful. The first like 2.5 months that we're hanging out and the kids are getting to know each other, I did not invite them into our house at all. And she would invite us into theirs, and it was great. And they had all the stuff you have when you have three little kids, and the kids would sometimes go into their house and play. I never once extended an invitation into our house. Her and I would like sit outside in the backyard and whatever, never, because I still was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do or what. And then there was a day we were all playing outside and then it started raining. And she was like, "Hey, can I come and see your house? You guys have a 4 bedroom, right?" And theirs was a 3 bedroom. And I am just like freaking out. Really up until this point, my mom and sister would sometimes occasionally come over, but other than that, we didn't have people over to our house. No one else had seen what I had done to our house. And I am kind of freaking out. And I'm like, maybe I could just show her the basement. And I'm like, I think the kids have a few of their toys pulled out, so it probably doesn't feel so bare right now and everything. And so we go in the basement because that was like the level you would come in out of the backyard. And, we're just looking around. She's like, "Okay, yeah, your basement's like the same as ours." And I'm like, "Okay." And then we're going upstairs and we get to the main level and she's looking around. And this was so funny to me. She said, "I think yours must be bigger." And in my head, I'm thinking, no, I actually know, as a matter of fact, that all the end units are the exact same square footage. Ours was just unique that it had an extra bedroom, but that's only changed the third level, like floor plan, right? And she's like, "I think it might be bigger." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure." Right? Like, um, and then we go upstairs and we look at the bedrooms and whatnot, and she's not really saying a lot. And I'm just like, yep, now she's saying like what you like legit only have like bedrooms in your bedroom or beds in your bedrooms, right? Um, and then we're going back down and going down all the stairs to get down to the main level. And she was like, "Oh, have you not fully unpacked yet?" And I was like, "Hey, if that's the justification that your brain is coming up with why we have so little stuff, then sure, let's go with it. Yes, we haven't full yeah, you're right. Yeah, we still have some stuff in boxes and whatever," which I mean, I did have some stuff in boxes, but um and then it was like, okay, and the rain had stopped and we walked back outside and it wasn't that big of a deal. But it always has stuck with me. First the comment of your house must be bigger. And I'm like, it feels bigger because we don't have so much stuff in it, right? Um, but also then that even when she did notice how little we were living with, she was just like, "Oh, maybe you haven't unpacked yet," right? It wasn't you're weird, you're strange, what's wrong with you? You're depriving your kids. And it could have been. And maybe what if that would have happened, right? What if she would have came in and been like, "What is wrong with you all? Like, you have gone too far." Well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit today too, and why we actually all could have weathered that just fine too. I do have another horrifying story too of getting rid of a birthday gift and the person coming and looking for it. So we'll talk about that too. But I guess today I want to share with you 5 things that if you are seriously considering becoming more minimalist towards minimalism, a minimalist, maybe you don't want to be a minimalist, but you want to go a lot further with decluttering, 5 things that I think are super helpful for you to have. Um, but also I want to talk about, and we'll get to it in like point 4, why these things that we worry about so much, why we actually can weather them much better than we're thinking, and it probably won't be as big of a deal as what you're thinking either. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I think if you are watching this today, you need minimalism. I have never felt more strongly about that in my entire life. We are drowning, we are overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're anxious, and I believe that minimalism is a very powerful tool for us all to regain our confidence and to get back on top again. And if that means someone walks in our house and says, "Have you not unpacked yet?" OMG, that is like the least of our concerns. My bigger concern now, as I look back, would have been, what if I didn't do it? Like, what if I would have wasted that time with our kids of me being overwhelmed and just, try to keep my head above water and always feeling behind and not being able to be like a really present good mom that I feel like I am now. Like that now would be my bigger fear. What the clutter is costing us, not any single item that you could accidentally get rid of or worrying about keeping things for just in case. Like those are such minute details when I look back on all the benefits that I've gotten to experience now because I was willing to take that risk 10 years ago and declutter the bulk of our stuff. So let's share these 5 things. I think it makes it just a little bit easier to get our head around minimalism and to be able to get there faster. So, number 1 is the minimalist mindset. So, there's 2 parts of this to me. One is how we look at stuff, and one is how we take feedback from others. So, this quote from Fumio Sasaki, I think, sums it up brilliantly. He says, "The things we really need will always find their way back to us." So I don't think that it's possible to have a scarcity mindset, to be fearful about not having the right things and to get, what if I get rid of this and I need it? It's very hard to have that mindset and also become minimalist because you have to radically be willing to open your hands and let go of any clinging to stuff. Like, we can't have both. We can't have all this freedom and peace of mind that has come from simplifying and decluttering and have all the stuff. Right. And so we all get to choose. We each get to choose this for ourselves. But if we can embrace this mindset that there is not lack around us and that the things we really need will always find their way back to us, it brings so much freedom and it makes the decluttering so much easier. And this, over the last 10 years, has been my experience time and time again. If you genuinely, truly need something, it is so fun to see how those things find their way to you. And so I have never felt up a crick. I've never felt like, oh no, minimalism is really costing me this time. Not at all. When there is something I need, it finds its way to me. I find it, someone offers it, I borrow it, I find it at a thrift store, a garage sale. It has never been a case of, oh no, I went too far. Now my life is harder or I feel bad about it. The second part, like I kind of touched on with, worrying about my neighbor's reaction, is being able to shift my mindset to say that unless that person is where I hope to be, I'm not concerning myself with their opinion. Now, this is tricky because this actually goes against our innate wiring as human beings because we are pack animals and we are designed to care what other people think. We want to be part of a tribe in a group. We do not want to be left out or left behind. And so this actually takes some intentionality to be able to step back and say, okay, my neighbor is coming into my house. Does she have what I want? Is she where I want to be? And in regards to her house and her stuff and her possessions, no, like she wasn't. She didn't have anything more to offer me than any other of my other neighbors. And so, this was something I had researched. I'd put time and energy into. I'd been collecting data and experiencing the benefits. And so, again, even if she would have walked in and said, "You are off your rocker. What is wrong with you?" That wouldn't have felt good. I wouldn't have liked it. Probably have, compromised our friendship a little bit. But I think I would have had the wherewithal to be like, well, that's coming from someone who's not where I want to be. Sucky thing to say, but I'm not going to take it to heart. And I'm certainly not going to let it impact the decisions that I'm making for me and my family. Number 2, I do think there are a handful of supplies that are very helpful. Black trash bags, right? Not white ones, not see-through ones or anything opaque. Black trash bags are like a black hole where you can put stuff in, forget about it, and move on with life. I shared the Goodwill video last week. We have overconsumed for so long that there is a point where we have to start throwing stuff away. And if that is your path of least resistance right now to get your house simplified, then permission to do so. I love donations. Donation boxes, of course, are a must have too. We're going to also talk about having like a permanent donation spot. And then also the time will tell bin is very helpful for many. You don't need a lot of them, but this can be, a Rubbermaid tote or a cardboard box. But this is where you put something in that you're just not sure about. You think you don't need it, but you're not sure. You throw it in there, you set it aside, and you just time test it and you just give a little time. There's 3 areas that I recommend using a time will tell bin. That is with kitchen stuff because we can spend a lot of money on those dumb little gadgets and then we feel bad decluttering them. So kitchen stuff, clothing, especially as women, we have weird attachments with our clothing too. I want to be smaller. I want to be bigger. This was from then. I thought I was gonna. It still has tags on it. Blah blah blah. Right? You throw it in a time will tell bin. You set it aside and you see if you miss it at all. And then also with kids' toys, great way just to time test them, see if anybody misses them. If not, donate the whole stinking bin and move on with life, right? And then also a memory box. I haven't talked about this a whole lot lately. We talk about it a lot in our membership group, but a memory box is just a container where you put your most special of special possessions, treasures, memories, sentimental items. Until you have tried this, you will not understand how magical it is because a lot of this stuff floats around our house and we feel uneasy about not taking good care of it, not knowing where it is, not archiving it well. And so a memory bin creates a location for your super special stuff so that then you can just go to town decluttering the rest because you know all your super special possessions are safe and contained. All right, number 3 thing I think everyone needs, for becoming a minimalist is a basic understanding of the hedonic treadmill. So this is what I was talking about with how actually we can adapt to even people being really mean to us, like, quickly. So, the hedonic treadmill explains why we are relatively stable creatures. Isn't that good to hear? You're a relatively stable creature, right? Whose happiness levels don't fluctuate much over the long term. It's quite remarkable that if we tracked our happiness for the entirety of our life, there would be lots of like up and down waves, but the baseline would actually stay very steady. And this is good news on 2 different fronts. This means we can bounce back fairly quickly after something bad happens. Again, we're so fearful. But Dawn, what if I get rid of it and I could have used it? You'll get over it. It sucks in the moment. It stings. We're like, ugh. Depending on how hard you are on yourself and your self talk, you might be more hard on yourself and be like, that was so dumb. Why did you do that? Guess what? We'll get over it. You have gotten over much worse, harder things in your life than accidentally decluttering something that you could have used, even if it was expensive. So, this is good news. We adjust quickly to this crap. It also means like when big sad things happen, when we lose loved ones, we lose jobs, we have to move and leave close friends, that we actually bounce back from these things too. They suck. Nobody wants that for any of us, right? Oh, amen. But we adjust, right? And also, though, there is a flip side to this, and I know you have experienced this as well, that it also happens with the positive things. That when an event brings us a lot of joy, that surge of happiness will only last a little while. Much like someone running on an actual treadmill, the hedonic treadmill can make us feel like we're moving while we remain in the same place. We adapt to the events in our lives, which is why the hedonic treadmill is often also referred to as hedonic adaptation. And so we have all experienced this where we buy something, we have little burst of happiness, it feels good, and then we go back to baseline and then we have to go buy something else. Retailers, marketers rely on this. They are constantly telling us why the next thing will make us feel good and better. It'll make us feel prettier, thinner, happier, a better parent, all the things, right? They know how to tap into this. Like, oh, you return to baseline. I know how you can feel better again. Buy this. It's cheap. It's on sale. It's limited quantities. It only lasts for 10 minutes, right? You got to get it now and you're going to feel so good. And we actually do. Like you get a little burst of dopamine, happiness, whatever. You feel a little good. You're like, oh, yeah, that did feel kind of good, right? And then you go back to baseline and your house is filled up with crap and you have a credit card bill and you feel like a loser, right? So if we can just recognize this, and this is why I'm saying that one of the keys, one of the things you need if you want to become a minimalist, is to understand this and recognize the patterns. Like, what is your weakness? What is the thing you use to get back up again? Right? It's very natural. It's normal. Your brain is telling you to do it because it feels good. Our brain is all about feeling good, right? So there's nothing wrong with you. But if we can understand this, again, twofold, keeps us from bringing more junk into our house that we don't need, but also it helps us to understand that if any of these worst case scenarios when you're decluttering were to happen, you're going to be just fine. Totally fine. I love this quote. It says, and I think it goes along with this. It says, joy is being in a state of not wanting. And I think that's, if we were really to look at like, what is contentment? When have you felt like content in your life where you're just like, can kind of like exhale and you're like, yeah, like everything's good right now. Sometimes it's like on vacation or maybe in the morning with like a cup of coffee and there's just like calmness around you. And it's just like, you know what? Yeah, and I do think that's something we are all wanting more of. I think we all actually want to get to this state of not wanting anything, that we can truly just be okay right where we are with what we have today. And I do think that if we can understand this idea of this hedonic treadmill, what does bring happiness? And if you dig into it a little more, like when they're saying, like, okay, where, how do you can increase your baseline, but how do we do that? It is through people and experiences, right? Relationships, experiences. And even that's a little tricky because, relationships aren't exactly a walk in the park all the time either, right? But when you find your people and you have the bandwidth to invest in them and to care for them and to work through, like they'll say, like relationships are all about ruptures and repairs, right? Awesome, but also exhausting, right? And so if we can free up space and bandwidth, and then we also feel comfortable inviting people into our home and making space for connection and all of that, that is how we can actually increase our baseline happiness. And it's not a single thing that we can buy, right? Like it has nothing to do with anything that we can buy. We can all achieve that right here, right now, where we're at. And I love that. I think that is awesome. And I think it's something that most of us are actually looking for. All right, number 4, again, real practical, a permanent donation spot. So a place in your home where donations go until they move out of your house. If we would have had an attached garage, that probably would have been my preferred location, but it was in my last house. It was this corner of the living room. There were always donations there, and it was fine. I didn't care. I would put a box there, like I'd get a nice size box. I'm like, next donation box, and I'd throw it in the corner and we'd fill it up with crap. And I really had to learn to not second guess any of the things that the kids were putting there, because it was meant to be like a safe spot. Like anyone can put anything there and it's fine, and we could kind of even time test stuff a little bit until it went to the donation center. It's usually about like once a month that then I would go load it up and drop it off. But having a set spot where donations go, again, it seems very like a small thing, like, well, yeah, I'm telling you, it was awesome. The kids would throw things there, I would put things there, and you kind of get, as you declutter more and you're wanting to keep your house really highly simplified, you're always scanning for things that you're not using. And so as you come across them, you just chuck them there and move on with your day. It was so helpful. So it can be out of sight. Like we just didn't have a ton of space, in our house. And so it doesn't have to be wide out in the open or whatever, but in a closet, in the garage, somewhere where everyone knows where it is and no one questions what anyone puts there is super helpful. And then lastly, a willingness to reevaluate, to collect data, to see our home and our possessions as something that flexes with us and that does not become a time capsule of the past. I talked about this a little bit in my tiny house organizing video, but isn't it interesting how many of us grew up with this perception of our homes that you kind of set it and forget it. You put the stuff in and it stays there, and then that's just how your house is. And if someone gives something to you, then it for sure stays there, and it has to be there for when they come, and they're looking around for it again, which I guess I can share my other horrifying minimalist story too, was when a family member, I will not name who it was, gave the girls, they were pretty little at the time, this really big, cool dollhouse. I believe it was for a birthday. And it was big and it was awesome. And as soon as got unwrapped, I'm like, "They're not gonna play with that. We had one like that. We had 2 like that probably. That never got played with," in my head. But what are they doing? They are, like, jumping for joy because they think they just got the coolest gift ever, even though I'm like, "You're not gonna play with it, right?" So, they seem super excited. They're giving this awesome reaction to the family member that gave it to them, and literally that day was the only day that they ever played with it, and then it got pushed to the side of the living room and never got played with again. I even went through the effort of finding some furniture for it on Marketplace that was the right scale and size or whatever for it. Nope. They would sometimes pull the furniture out on the coffee table and play with it. They did play with that, never played with the dollhouse, right? And so what did I do? I collected data. It's not getting used. I said, if you guys are going to play with it, great, we'll keep it. If not, like fair warning, it's going out, right? And then I eventually donated it. And then the family member came over and I could tell they were looking around for it. And I go, I'm like in the kitchen, I'm like busy myself in the kitchen, right? And then I hear them ask, like, "Oh, where'd the dollhouse go?" And Maggie, sweet Maggie, goes, "Mom donated it," right? And I'm just horrified because I don't want to offend anyone. Yeah, I have these new ideals and thoughts about how I want to keep my house, but also how cool that my kids have so many people that love them and care for them and bring them gifts. And like, I don't ever want to seem ungrateful or hasty or a know it all or I'm somehow better than them because I don't keep that kind of crap in my house or, like all the things that go through your brain that they must be thinking and judging you and they're feeling judged and everyone. And that sucked. And I didn't exactly, like, honestly, I did not exactly know how to navigate that. And so I did not say anything, and they never said anything. And then we all went on. And also, I did notice that we didn't get as big of gifts from them anymore, size wise. Like, they were still very thoughtful and everything. And so, again, also one of my biggest fears, right? And it happened and we survived it and we've all gone on. It did not like ultimately affect my relationship with that person. And again, the fear is like, oh, what if that could have done real damage? Well, now in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, if that would have been a deal breaker for that relationship, that wasn't a strong relationship, right? Like if a relationship can't weather me accidentally or even intentionally decluttering something that they gave, then that's not a strong relationship, right? And I think about that too, because I know another fear is like, well, what about my kids? And I was actually just talking, my sister and I were talking about with Adeline, she'll be 16 in November. And we were talking about it, like I was like, "Ah, okay, I'm like, Adeline, truth, like just be fully honest with me. Like, did you ever feel like I went too far with decluttering your toys or your things? And she was like, no, but she's like, I loved it. Like, I was grateful for it. And so I was glad to hear that. But I know the fear is that we are going to declutter something of our kids or our spouses or someone else's, and they're going to be upset and we're not going to be able to recover it from it. But I believe that you have enough equity with your family members that even if that worst case scenario comes true, that you're going to be able to weather that as well. Just recently, I had the experience where we're in our membership group, we're working together to create our like capture and complete planner. And I will launch it to the world someday, but I just want to make sure it's like excellent and really, really good. And so they've given just like the best feedback ever. So it will be awesome when we do, but we order copies of it. And so I work with this like kind of smaller printer in Michigan. And with the last batch, we order it for 6 months because I want to be able to make adjustments. And then we order a second one for the second half of the year. And so we got the second batch. And on the cover, it should have said July through December, and it said January through June. Now, I immediately thought that I made the mistake because, as I've said, I don't have a I don't have a detailed section of my brain. That's my assistant, Jackie, who's one of the coolest human beings on earth. She is the detailed part of my brain. And so I'm like, shoot, I'm like, I must have totally like just messed this up, put the wrong cover on. And I pulled the file up and I looked back through it just because we were going to order some more. And I'm like, well, better make sure I get the right one. And I'm like, oh, you know what? It actually has the right months on it. And so I go to this gal at the company and I'm like, hey, I think we got like a few hundred planners with the wrong cover on them. And she looked back and she realized that it was her mistake, that she was just kind of replicating from the first of the year. But here, how she handled it just made all the difference with me having confidence with her moving forward. She said, Dawn, I messed up. How can I make it right? And I think it just gives me goosebumps even thinking about that now because it instantly restored trust with me when she said, Dawn, I messed up. How can I make it right? Um, what if we take that approach with our family if we would accidentally mess up? Have I once in a while gotten rid of something of the kids that they really liked? Yeah, I mean, even just, I don't know, a few months ago, Gage had a joke book and it got a little wet on the edges. And I'm like, I don't even think he's looked at it. I don't think he's care. I chucked it in the garbage. And it was a couple weeks later, he's like looking everywhere for it. And then I remembered. And he was really like upset about it. And, I don't always offer right away to just rebuy the thing because usually I can say, like, hey, like, I'm really sorry. Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to play a game? Do you want to bake something together? And then that's great. And we do it and whatever. But this time I could tell, like, he actually just really wanted the book back. And so I had got it at Five Below for $5. Nope, they didn't have it anymore. So then I go on Amazon, it was $13 and like whatever at that point. Right. And I ordered it and I got it. I think that's maybe the first time I've had to actually even do that in the 10 years. But again, if we know that we have equity with our family, that we can look at them and say, I messed up, how can I make it right? That statement right there, y- there really isn't much you can't work through. And again, if that's the deal breaker for a relationship, then it probably wasn't as strong, and there's probably bigger things going on behind the scenes with it that need rebuilding rather than you decluttering a thing or two of someone else's. Now, do I ever wanna be hasty or careless with this? No, and that's why we always recommend, like, you talk to the people in your household, you don't just carelessly get rid of their stuff. But also there are times where we do just need to get stuff moved out of our house, and we will make decisions for others based on the data that we have collected. And so again, I know I understand the fears, but I don't want those to hang you up or hold you back because again, I think this is too important. I think it has never been more important for us to get our houses simplified and decluttered. Like we can't keep up this pace. We can't keep going how we have been. It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for our family. We all need a safe place to come home where we can rest and recharge and reset. And if we can do that, we can navigate this crazy world, right? Like we can do it. We are all very tough and competent and we can handle the crap that gets thrown our way. But if not, it just makes it a lot harder. All right. So, there's my thoughts on that. I would love to spend a little time now answering your questions and anything, decluttering life, anything like that. I always love when we can go live and so we can have a little bit more interaction. So if you put a question mark in front of your question, it makes it easier for me to see. And if you have posted one, I've been trying to keep my blinders on to the comments right now. So if you want to repost it, it'll make it a little bit easier for me to grab as well. I love it. When I'm shopping, I hear you in my head. Do I need this? Do I really love it? And will I wear it often? Yeah. Yeah, Pam, I love that. If it's not a clear yes, it's a no, right? I think it's funny when people say, like, your name's like a four-letter word in our house now. So are we switching days videos or release? Yes. So I'm going to start posting on Thursdays now. I realized that Mondays was a rough way to start the week. I was often scrambling on Mondays to have my videos done for Tuesday. So yeah, I posted in the community section in YouTube, but I know not everybody sees that. So I'm sorry for any confusion around that. But yeah, it'll be Thursdays moving forward. Plus, Cass and Catherine, a handful of women also post on Tuesdays. And so I'm like, well, I'll just separate myself out a little bit. So yeah, how do you handle sentimental furniture items? Great question, Michelle. So I will always recommend the book Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff by Matt Paxton. So he talks about curating a legacy list. And so I would say that we only keep sentimental furniture items if it is truly special to us. If you love having it and maintaining it, if you have a great spot in your home for it, if when you look at it, you're like, that reminds me of this person and this time and these memories, and like it is a joy to have it. The problem is a lot of this kind of stuff, these big items, we think we should keep them, but they bring no extra satisfaction or happiness or joy to our life. So we have to separate ourselves from what we believe we should do and have to do with these things that we've been passed down or inherited, or maybe we even asked for it after, someone, and just really recognize, do I want it? Like you get to choose, Michelle, what you have in your house and what you don't. Do you want it? Do you want to keep it? And if not, it is 1000% okay to donate it or put it on Marketplace or ask another family member if they would like it. I don't have a working printer, so I've been keeping a count of items by day that I'm decluttering. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, Mary Ellen, if you're in our membership group right now, we're doing a 1,000 item declutter challenge. We do this every summer. It is so fun. Hands down, the number one thing that is said is, I didn't think I could declutter 1,000 items in a week, and I did. It is awesome. It's awesome. It's so fun. So, yes, you can track it however you need to track it, but like so much stuff gets moved out during this challenge that we do. Hey Sheila, good to see you. Are you coming near North Carolina anytime soon? No plans of it right now. I know some have asked too, like if we're doing like any summer vacations. I love being at home in the summer. We had some fun camping trips and stuff too, but ultimately I could just like putz around my parents' farm all summer doing landscaping stuff, and we had a bonfire the other night and there are fireflies everywhere, and it just felt like so magical. I'm like, yeah, everybody, I paid extra for the fireflies tonight, right, for our campfire experience here or whatever. So as of right now, no travel plans, but I don't know, you never know. We'll see. So how should I deal with adult children who regularly receive Amazon packages? Great question, Trisha. Well, I mean, it's kind of twofold there. I don't know if you're worried about like their budgeting and that. Like, I'm trying to teach my kids, like, if you have money for something, like, you can do with it whatever you want. You want to buy something, whatever, but we're not gonna, use credit cards or go into debt or whatever for these things. But as far as like the extra inventory that is coming in, well, watching the Buy Now documentary on Netflix is kind of eye opening. And also, though, I think it comes down to container concept. Like, if you have adult children in your house, where is their space in their domain? They can keep anything they want in there. That's their container. But if it is spilling out to other areas, then that's your area and you get to decide. But I think this is multifaceted. And if anyone has any ideas for Trisha, I'm not quite sure which part of it is your biggest concern, Trisha, if it's like the impulse buying or like the extra stuff coming in. But if anyone else has ideas too, like please share it. It's super helpful. Oh yeah. Did you get the green cake stand from Goodwill? I did not. I have been thinking about it though since then. And I have to go. The kids are going to camp soon, and I was gonna go look for a couple things for camp at Goodwill for them. And I'm kind of like, if the green cake stand is still there, I might have to grab it, So I'll keep you posted. What is your plan with the tiny home? Are you going to live there or is it just a retreat? Any thoughts on buying a house in the future? So for now, it's just meant to be a retreat. Yeah, things, I don't know. It's still been going good at my parents' house. They haven't said anything about kicking us out yet. So I do think in the future, yeah, like it'd be good to have a house again. Especially as the kids keep getting older. But yeah, for now, having the tiny house as a retreat and getting to stay here has like I feel like I've got it made. So for right now, that's the plan. We call our new place the Time Will Tell Forest. We appreciate all the encouragement you have given. We downsized from giant house to tiny cabin with your help. Gina, that is so cool. Way to go. I love it. Time Will Tell Forest. That's awesome. My 9 and 11-year-old deserve a decluttered house. Any advice for a neurodivergent mom who gets overwhelmed easily? I need to start today. Yeah, Aaron. Well, I just feel for you so much. Like, I would love to gift you like 3 free months to our membership group because you need accountability. You need people doing it with you. You need small steps. We do body doubling every single day, which is super helpful for those that are neurodivergent. And so like I feel like we've been doing our membership group for 5 years now, and like I feel like we've really got it dialed in. Lots of neurodivergent friends in there, or those with neurodivergent kids. And so this is something we're constantly talking about. But you need small, actionable steps and accountability, and you need people that are celebrating your wins with you. Not everyone around you in your world is going to get it when you're like super excited because you just, decluttered 1,000 items or made your 5th trip to Goodwill this week, right? And so to have a safe place where you can share your wins, celebrate, share when you're feeling discouraged and get encouragement. So if you email support at theminimalmom.com, I would be happy to set you up with that. But our group's not like open right now. This is not me even trying to promote it. Other than that, I just know that it's helpful and I resonate with that desperation too. So I understand. Going through tons of photos, taking forever. Should I declutter first and do photos later? Yes. Yes, get your house decluttered first, then tackle photos. You need strong decluttering muscles to do photos. Photos are hard decisions a lot of the time, but we have to pare it down and get rid of the bulk of them. So, yes, do the rest of your house. Have a safe space where all of the photos are going together. Then, once your house is decluttered, it is going to be 800 times easier. Yeah, how do you cut back from a Goodwill thrifting addiction? So Jackie, who I mentioned, she loves to thrift. We were just talking about this yesterday when we met. And she actually used to work at a thrift store too. She's giving me a lot of the insights that I've learned about how thrift stores work and what they want and don't want. And she said, she's like, it's exactly like you described on that video last week. It's the unknown. It's the thrill of what am I going to find and what's, how cheap will it be and whatever. And so, the best thing to do is to challenge yourself to go 30 days without thrifting or going to a garage sale or Goodwill. But what you have to do though, if you're going to try and cut something out like this, or what I would recommend that you would do, is you got to find something else to replace it with. So whether it's going for a walk every day, reading a good fiction book, you can get those same like dopamine hits. Cleaning, decluttering, going to visit friends, not thrifting, like going for a cup of coffee or something. So find something to replace it with is usually a little more successful than just trying to go cold turkey with it. Do you ever sell things on Marketplace or do you always donate? Oh, Tammy, funny that you should mention this because I just had an experience with Marketplace. Well, two experiences. So, my parents had a recliner, like electric recliner, that my dad was no longer using. It was headed out of the house and then it landed in the entryway and it just stayed there for a long time, like over maybe a couple years. And so, as I've been here, I'm trying to contribute and make it a great space for all of us to be. And so, my mom had said like we need to sell it and get rid of it. And so I listed it on Marketplace, and not even for very expensive. I mean, we're talking like $100, right? Not really getting any serious replies. Someone saying they'll come and show up, not show up, having to go back and forth. Someone comes to look at it, but then they have to come back the next day to get it. Ended up selling for $50, and it was just so much work, right? And then I didn't realize that my tiny house came with furniture in it. So it came with a couch, but then I wanted it to have a pull-out sleeper sofa in it. So I had found one, bought it, was getting delivered, and then I'm like, "Oh, we have a couch." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to sell the couch on Marketplace," right? That too. I I couldn't believe it was a brand new couch. I couldn't believe how little I had to list it for to get people even interested. And then it's just the whole thing of like someone saying, "Okay, I'm going to be there at 12:30. When do they, and I'm kind of arranging my day around it. When do they get there? 1:30, and I have to arrange with my brother to be, and all that to say, I list stuff on Marketplace. I remember what a pain in the butt it is, and then I don't do it again for a long time, and I just donate everything. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'll, do this on Marketplace again. And then I remember why I don't do it anymore. So if you have a little extra time, if the money is helpful to you right now, I think Marketplace is a wonderful service. But if you don't have bandwidth, if they're pretty low dollar items, I would just donate them and move on with life. But that's just my 2 cents. So you do you. When do you figure out your goals for the day, the night before or morning of? Great question, Candace. I was generally a morning of type of person, but there's new research that shows that setting your to-do list the night before and reviewing your calendar helps you to sleep better and feel more at ease about the next day. So I have now become a nighttime planner, reviewer. I think the fear is that we're going to get into like to do mode and our brain's going to get going about that. But actually, the opposite is true. It actually shows that you have more peace of mind. So, if possible, planning it the night before can be really helpful. My grandma, who passed away last year, made me promise to keep a tea set. No one wants it, not even donated. I don't want it either, but I feel so bad throwing it away. Help. I mean, that sucks. I validate that that feels bad. And also, probably you're just going to have to throw it away. Again, if we go back to our, hedonic, I don't even know if I'm saying the word right, but to our treadmill, it is going to feel crappy here for a little bit, right? And then you're going to bounce back up and it's going to be fine. So it sucks in the moment, often getting rid of this stuff, but I don't think you're going to miss it or think about it much again, ever. Anything else helps on how to help an adult child clear out clutter when they are a collector and also ADHD hard with attention span, and they have trouble knowing where to start with a cluttered apartment. Yeah. So, Our mantra in our membership group is floor first. So when someone doesn't know where to start, we're always like floor first. It's very unsettling to our brain to have stuff on the floor. So it's always floor first, floor at the door, if we need an even more specific. So whether these are kids that live in your house or have their own space now, helping them understand that. And especially when we go in, instead of saying like, we don't have to clean your whole entire room and deal with everything, but we're just gonna try and get the floor cleared up today. Man, that feels good, right? And then from there, we can start to use the container concept. I would explain to them about the idea of inventory, and it's everything you have to manage. Another thing we've really been hammering home in our membership group is how our brain loves categories. Our brain is constantly categorizing. So it's floor first and then categorize and contain. And so, it's helping them understand you can keep all of these clothes, but how are you containing them? How are you keeping them all together? How are you making it so you can see them and know what you have to choose from to wear? You can keep, this whole collection of records that are, all the kids are getting into again or whatever. Where do they live? How do you contain them? Your brain wants to know they're all together right here, right? And kind of go through like the different categories of stuff that they're trying to keep. So floor first, categorize and contain. And just, coming alongside them as a consultant, being willing to help, not judging, like those things can all make a really big difference. How do you cut down your memory bins? I have 6 just for me and just can't bring myself to whittle it down further. The 6 is what I recently brought it down to. It was more. So I would say similar to the photos, I would keep working on decluttering the rest of your house. Sentimental is the hardest category. So I wouldn't stress too much right now about cutting it down more. I would keep decluttering the rest of your house. You're building up your decluttering muscles, and then it's going to be easier to come back and say like, okay, now I'm going to go down to 5 and now I'm going to go down to 4. What is the most influential way you have used to get members of your family, children, spouse to see things differently regarding keeping deceased family members' belongings that do not get used? Twofold. So, one, the idea of inventory, that all of this is inventory that we have to manage. And especially with things from deceased loved ones, like we feel this pressure to keep it safe and not let anything happen to it. So, that is hanging over our head. But I do think the book, Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff by Matt Paxton, could give you all common language around it and this idea of curating a legacy list. So, saying, this person was so important to us. Having this mishmash of stuff, like, how it's stored and whatnot, is not honoring them. But what if we curate a legacy list for them, something that we actually would revisit, that we would use to remember them by, that we would tell the stories of, can be a gentler way to go about it. As the youngest of 9 siblings, I'm expected to be the keeper of all the things. How do I keep from drowning in stuff? Our parents have already passed. Well, if your parents have already passed, I would say great news. Like, you don't have to be the keeper of all the things now. You can just give notice to all of your family members. Hey, I understand that like it was the unspoken job of me for this long to keep all this stuff, but I'm housing it until Labor Day. And then, you can take pictures. You can say that like this is all inventory that I have to manage and I can't manage it anymore. And so, like, so sorry, not sorry. I wouldn't even say sorry, right? Like, hey, this is the new reality. I can take care of it for you, or you can come and get it, but it's going. Okay, Trisha, going back to the Amazon packages, it's spilling out into our living space. Yeah, so this is where now you get to have the fun conversation of like, hey guys, this is our living space, my living space. It's yours too, but this is how I want it to be kept. And I think conversations, inventory, clutter causes stress. I don't like how this feels. I've been working on decluttering your house. This is how I want the living room to feel. Can we all agree that if your stuff spills out, either I'll give you the chance for you to take care of it and do something with it, or if I take it, then I'm decluttering it, donating it, throwing it away, whatever. Not the most fun conversation to have, right? But again, as we're learning, like it's just so important right now that we all have a peaceful space to live in. So, like, it is what it is, right? Shelly says, I have an adult child who is a hoarder. I've helped him thoroughly clean his house twice over the past several years, but I just can't do it again. Divorced with 2 young kids. Any advice? Yeah, this might be a little above your pay grade then, Shelly, if he actually is a hoarder. So I don't know that I necessarily have the best solutions for that, but if anyone else has experienced this or if you have any resources that you could recommend to Shelly, that would be super helpful. Shannon says, I am ADHD too and understand how tough it is. Is the group small? I'm worried it will be large to get too large to get lost in. The group is fairly large, but the body doubling is actually very intimate. Like, everyone gets to know each other very well. So we have a dozen coaches and who lead it, like just two every night, right? And so you get to know them really well. They recognize the regulars in there and everything. And so no, anybody who wants to be seen in there will be seen in there 1000%, and that's been very important to me. So I'll just do this right now. Like, anyone who the financial side of the group would make it so you can't join, or if you're just like, I've joined things, I like whatever, like if you email membership at them or support at theminimalmom.com, like I will give you a 3-month scholarship to it. And also, like, we don't have it open right now, so the price is 45. I'll also honor for anyone that's willing to pay for it right now the $22 price, because again, I'm just feeling like a lot of urgency around this for all of us to get our homes decluttered, and I do believe it is the best support system out there for this specific goal, and that it does translate into all the different areas of our life too. So support at theminimalmom.com, whether you're requesting a scholarship or you want to do the $22 a month rate. That's like our summer special we did earlier this year or whatever. You can quit anytime. If you join and you're like, this sucks, didn't use it, we'll give you a refund. Like, I just want you to get your house decluttered, right? I want to support you. I'm in there every day. Like, I do support like videos every day, 5-minute like tactic videos. We have specific challenges and areas we work on. And now we added on our household planning meetings on Saturday mornings where we go through our action and our meal planning and our mail and like our calendars, and we're staying on top of stuff together, like our cleaning routines. And so it's awesome. It is like, I don't believe there is anything else out there like it, and like it has been something that we have like created over the last 5 years, all through the lens of minimalism and simple living, and you being able to manage like this small business that is your household, right? When we actually like looked at like how many things we're all trying to manage as women, we're like, oh crap, that's a lot. Like cleaning and budgeting and grocery planning and getting the orders and cooking and like all like calendars and mail and all, like it's so much, but we have really simple proven systems now that work for all of it. And so anyways, I'm sorry, I'm making an administrative nightmare for Jackie and Kristen right now, and I'm sorry about that. So all right, is what it is. There we go. All right, we'll figure it out. So is having a cluttered full house of stuff a named mental disorder? No, hoarding would be the only one once it gets to that point. And there are different levels of hoarding. However, many mental health professionals will say now that it can be a reflection of our inner world, that our outer world can be a reflection. And that can manifest in two different ways, like a lot of clutter. Or, we have the other end of the spectrum with OCD where we're not ever allowed to have anything out of place. But so many would agree now that it can definitely be a representation of our inner world. Having great success with a plant and am conflicted because I feel like it needs to pay rent at this rate. Elaborate on plants as clutter, please. Feeling guilty even considering it. Oh yeah, 1000% plants can be clutter, like guilty clutter for sure. And I liked what Michael Smith had said from the Nester, and she said we can look at a plant as like a 1 to 2 year thing. Like we could have it for a little bit, enjoy it, or someone could give it to us, we enjoy it for a little bit, and then we can just get rid of it. You can put them for free on Marketplace. But yeah, they take time and effort and energy. For some of us, it's worth it and we love it and it's great. And for others, it's like, I feel like I should enjoy this, but I'm not. So 1000% permission to let it go. How do you keep the motivation to declutter when dealing with chronic stress and multiple mental health conditions that make basic functioning feel like running a marathon on a good day? That sucks, Hannah. I am so sorry to hear that. And it's so hard because like you need like you need a highly simplified house right now. Anyone that is dealing with energy limitations, physical limitations, mental health challenges that you're trying to like work through, you thrive in a highly, highly, highly simplified environment. But we look around and we're like, yes, I know that would feel good to my overwhelmed brain right now, but how do I get there? Right. And so if you have people like around you that can help, and there's any way you can like pull on them for extra support and help with decluttering, that would be awesome. Again, I will gift you a membership in our in our membership group. But you do need to bring in support around you. And then it's the little things. Like one of our mantras is 5 minutes matters, and starting to believe that 5 minutes does matter. And you could actually get on top of your house in these 5 minute chunks when you do have the energy. And we also talk a lot, like we never rely on motivation, right? Motivation is just this fleeting, like comes, goes, whatever. And so we talk a lot about like how do we create our own motivation? How do we do it when we just absolutely do not feel like doing it? And that's where our body doubling has been huge. I mean, so many women will say, like, I log on kind of thinking, like, well, I'm just going to watch tonight, or I'm just, whatever. And then before I know it, I'm up and doing things. And we use it as like a container because like a lot of women will say it's in the evenings. They'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna log on to like reset my kitchen, right? And that is my time. And maybe I'll do a little decluttering in this area or whatever. But like that's my time I'm dedicating to it. And then when I'm off, like what I get done, I get done. And then I can go sit on the couch and watch Netflix. I can visit with my family, whatever else I want to do. And so having others around you, having that set time, using it as a container, super helpful. I love your new hair treatments or new product. I don't know. I like just use the leftover stuff that Adeline has. I will not even say a brand or anything because I'm just like, meh. So it's just that some days I do it more and I take the time to like straighten it really nicely and stuff. And other times I'm just like, oh, here I am. So I am convinced. I do feel like I have been intentional, like more intentional about my skincare. And the program I'm using puts a filter on it. So this is not even real. Um, but I have been consistent with what I'm using. So we like to say that the magic is in the motion, not the potion. And it's legit just like using things consistently. So, but thank you. I actually really appreciate that. So, Sarah says, I am autistic, ADHD, and I'm about to have a baby in 5 months. Oh, wow. I have a very, very decluttered home, but the addition of a new family is stressful because it comes with new things. Yeah. Baby stuff is overwhelming. But I was able to prove that you can still be very minimalist through having kids, and my sister Diana too, because she's more recently had kids. 1000% believe that too. It takes some intentionality, but it's really putting the blinders on to all the things that are out there and just being a really good data collector. What do I like? What does my baby like? What do we use all the time? And if you get something and try it and it's not a great fit, then you put it on marketplace or you donate it and you move on, or you let another mom, try it. Be like, hey, have you wanted to try this baby carrier? It didn't work for me. And not believing that every single thing that everyone else says is like the best thing ever is going to be the best thing ever for you and your baby. There's a lot of trial and error. Even Diana, this is funny. She had bought, if you had young babies recently, like a snoo, it's that bassinet that like rocks them if they start to stir, and like it has the app and all, and they're like not cheap. And so she had got it with Declan, their second, and he did awesome in it, right? And she's like, wow. And because Adley wasn't a great sleeper, she's like, the snoo is so great. It's so awesome. And then her next two babies didn't do anything for them, right? And she's like, it was probably just because Declan was a great sleeper, right? Just like I didn't need this super expensive bassinet or whatever, right? And so, anyways, there's a lot of trial and error, and you have to learn that everyone's always talking about miracle products, but there are very, very, very few miracle products out there, whether it's baby stuff or hair stuff or skin stuff. The thought of or possibility of reselling is my downfall. It slows my decluttering down and makes my decision making harder. How do I change my mindset and guilt and just donate? Well, one of the most helpful things to do then is to put a deadline on it. So say, okay, here's my sell pile. Keep all your stuff you want to sell together in one spot and say, I'm giving myself until this date, until the end of the weekend, until the end of next week to list it and sell it. I'm going to be really reasonable at the prices that I'm charging. If it sells, great. If not, at the end of that time, I'm loading it up and I'm donating it, because then at least you'll know that you've tried. So put a deadline on it, or like just even have the rule. When you come across something that you want to sell, you like right there, snap a picture, put it on marketplace, make the listing and go on. But yeah, I think the more we do that and we really hold ourselves to it, the more we get fed up with marketplace and we're like, that ain't worth it. Right. Have you ever experienced restlessness about having to declutter further? Is decluttering addiction a thing? Yes, Vivian, I'm glad you said that, because yes, many have said this, that the actual decluttering itself can get addicting. I don't know that it's something that we have to be too worried about, because I don't know if you can go too far with it. I've gone further and further and further, and I'm just like, oh, is there an even bottom to this because it just feels like I can keep going further. I do think some of the restlessness comes in though of where am I going to use my time and where am I going to get these same feel good feelings once this is done? Because it does feel good. We talk about the like the decluttering success path, and it's a lot of hard work, messy middle, just ugh. But then you're describing being on the downside where it's like easy and it feels good and I want it all out and I'm tasting the freedom. And I think some of the restlessness from it can come from, well, once my house is decluttered or I'm just in maintenance mode, like where am I going to get the same satisfaction from? And so that's where we start to look at like, well, what else might I do with my time? Is there something I want to learn or people I want to help or, whatnot? So totally normal. I don't know if it'd be classified as an addiction, but I totally understand everything that you're describing. By the end of the day, after a long day of work, I'm exhausted. When is the best time to start decluttering? I don't want to spend my whole weekend working on. We don't want that for you either, Shannon. So we actually talk a lot about managing your energy and knowing like when is your prime time of day. For many of us, it is the morning. And so then we have to kind of work backwards and say like, okay, how could I fit in 10, 15 minutes of decluttering in the morning? It takes a little intentionality, but once you get into it, you realize like, wow, I make quick decisions. I'm clear minded. When you have a contained time, you want to get stuff done more quickly instead of being like, oh, I have all Saturday. Ugh, that is like the worst, especially if you have ADHD, right? And so we have to kind of like work backwards to know yourself and when are your energy peaks and you feel best capable of making these types of decisions. Do you ever see that neighbor or friend anymore now that she probably knows you're the middle mom? Yeah, I don't know if she did. They actually moved away. So I have never actually crossed paths with them again. And I would joke with her about it though. Now, if she's ever seen my stuff or whatever, I would totally joke with her about it. She was great. She was super cool. So yeah, but no, it would be kind of funny. So I had asked Joshua Becker if he ever ran into or circled back with his neighbor that kind of inspired all of this, right? And he's like, no, I haven't, but I should. I'm like, that would be fascinating. How do you deal with the regret of decluttering an item? Great question, Doris. You have to like let yourself off the hook, right? Just like the stuff we buy is trial and error, decluttering is trial and error too. So uh, we're not holding this against you. You're doing the best you can with the information you have at the time. We don't have a crystal ball where we can predict the future. If we did, how awesome that would be, right? So you are doing the best you can. This is trial and error. Sometimes we mess up, but my goodness, the best is yet to come. Like what you're going to get to experience as you get further down the path, it is so worthwhile that hopefully these things where you might have felt like you made a mistake are really going to start to pale in comparison. All right. Well, I need to go. We have for the Take Your House Back course. I have another live here at noon. We go live in there every 2 weeks and have fun and answer questions. So I'm going to go grab a little iced coffee. I'm going to go do that. But I love getting to spend this time with you. I know that Adeline's looking at me now too. I know that it's not always, oh, I have to do your hair too, don't I? Okay. Is the straightener plugged in? Yeah. Okay. Come say hi really fast. Okay. It's like half done. It's half done. All right. Oh, are we doing the waving thing? Oh, yeah. That takes so long.
No, okay. It's just the top section though.
All right. Got it. Oh, that's gonna be cute though. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. All right, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I love you. I hope you have a really good day. I'm so grateful for you and all of your support and everything. I just seriously, thank you so much. All right. I love you. Have a really good day. I'll see you again soon.